Page 35, Brother John. On page 33, they're introducing you to the C major chord. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. They talk about it on page 32. You can have fun reading all about it. People don't agree on what a chord is, what the definition of chord is, just like people don't agree on much of anything in music. Some people say a chord are 3 or more notes together, played together. You don't really have to play them together, but close together. Together as in time. I mean, I could do this. It's still a chord. But there's 3 of them. Whatever. In any arrangement. It could be here, it could be here, whatever. 3 notes. Other people say a chord is 2 or more notes. Because anytime you have a harmony, you have a chord. I don't care how you define it. It kind of depends. I've seen reference books that go either way. So you'll decide. Your teacher will tell you what they think a chord is. It's not the point. Here we're talking about a 3-note chord. It's known as a triad. Tri meaning 3. So it's a triad, a 3-note chord. And we're talking with a C major chord. Well, I don't want to get into this too deeply, so let's try and keep it simple. What we're talking about intervals of a third, here and here, on top of each other, every other note, 3 notes. When it's in this arrangement, because it doesn't have to be in this arrangement, but when it is in this arrangement, the bottom note identifies what the chord is. In this case, the bottom note is a C, therefore it is a C chord. Because I can put the C on top. That's still a C chord. The problem is it's not in every other note because I got 2 notes here. Or I can put the E on top. I can rearrange the notes, but as long as it's these note names, a C, an E, and a G, in some arrangement, it's a C chord. As far as the major goes, we'll get into that later. Right now, it's just a C chord. If I don't say major, it's implied that it's major. Any other kind of chord, you have to say what it is. But for major chords, we don't have to say what they are. They're just chords. They have the notes there on page 33. You can see all the notes are either on lines or they're all on spaces. And that's another way of identifying quickly. I mean, you know they're thirds because of that. And that's just, you learn to recognize them. And when you read them in music, you're not reading individual notes. You're reading a group of notes as one thing. So it's here. Just put your hand in that position, you lower the hand down. Try and get the notes down at the same time. Here. And suddenly we're playing 6 notes at a time. Isn't that wonderful, old boy? That's a C major chord. In Brother John, we get the chords in the left hand. You see them? I'm sure you see them. They're pretty obvious. So let's talk about Brother John. It's 2 lines long, treble and bass clef, 4/4 time. We got both hands playing together. Quarter notes, whole notes, half notes. We got quarter rests. We got a half rest. That's probably new for you. We'll talk about the half rest. So we got no whole rest, just half rests. Okay. Let's take it one hand at a time. Make sure we got the notes and the fingering and the rhythm and all that. Right hand first. You're starting here. Put you in C position. It is 1, 2, 3, 4. So all quarter notes and the 3, 4, 3, 4. You go through and play it. I wish they wouldn't give you these finger numbers. You only need finger number on the first note. That's it. You can scribble out all these other finger numbers. Don't be reading the finger numbers. Read the notes. Now in the last 2 measures there, it is a 1 rest 3 4. 1 rest 3 4. That's how it works. In the left hand, well, you have the C chord down here. If you get a chord, and you will from time to time, you're not familiar with it, you're not sure what notes are in it, we do a technique called spell out the chord. That is, we figure it out 1 note at a time, starting with the bottom note, and we take it 1 note just up. So here, in the first measure, the bottom note of that chord, it's a C, and the next note is an E, and the next note is a G. And there's only 3 notes in this chord. Other chords could have a lot more notes. So you just take them one note at a time. It's called spelling out the chord. You figure it out. Now, once you've done that, you've got it, then you think of it as one unit, one thing. Here. And that whole note's a whole, 4 counts for a whole note, right? Right. Take my word for it. It's right. Then the last 2 measures, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and that half rest. Let's be careful here. Take a moment and look down on, here's a happy song right underneath this. And in the top staff, in the first measure, you have the box hanging down below the line. That's a whole rest. In the next measure, you have the box sitting on the line. That's a half rest. And that's really the only difference. These boxes here, they look like they're different sizes. They shouldn't be. They should be the same size. They're identical. The only difference is one is below the line and one is above the line. That's it. A half rest is like a half note, except you're quiet. So it gets the same number of counts as a half note. Well, in 4/4 time, that's 2 counts. So the last 2 measures of Brother John for the left hand is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's it. So we've accounted for 4 beats in every measure. Then once I can get the hands separately, then I try and put them together and see what happens. That's usually interesting. So you're here and here, and it's here. Playing 4 notes at one time. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So, and then when you get down the second line, the last 2 measures, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Is how that works. So you go through and put the hands together and then go back through and get rid of any hesitation so it is a steady beat at whatever speed you choose. That's fine. And then see if you can do it without looking at the keyboard. The whole piece without looking where you want to feel it is what I'm after. Then once we do that, we think about the dynamics. And it says P at the beginning, stands for soft. Remember, P is short for piano, which means soft. You'll have to decide what soft is. I can't tell you, it's not an absolute value. It's soft. What is soft to you in this situation? And it applies to the melody. This is soft. The other hand, if you can, you got to play it softer than that. Now that's hard to do because now you're playing one hand louder than the other. This is a skill we have to develop in piano, and most teachers, probably all teachers except me, won't even talk about playing one hand louder than the other for a long time yet. They just play them both the same. Well, if I play them both the same, these 3 notes drown out this note. But if I can learn to play this soft, play this louder. If you have to exaggerate, play this loud. Play this really soft at the same time. That's a weird feeling at first, but try it out. And eventually you'll start to get the hang of it. Eventually, as in months, probably. But the idea is the melody, we want to hear the melody. We're here for the melody. The melody rules. It's what it's all about. Everything else is background. Now in the second line, there's an F at the beginning of the line. That's short for forte, which means loud. For the melody, you have to decide what loud is. You can play the left hand a little louder than you were, but try and keep it under the right hand. We want to hear the melody. So to start with the last measure of the first line, that's soft. Then going to loud in the right hand. In the last 2 measures, it's all melody, so they're both the same. Because the melody can be anywhere. That's why I say the dynamic applies to the melody wherever it's at. Then the last piece that we add to the mix is the speed. At the beginning it says moderately fast. Again, I don't know what moderately fast is. It's not an absolute value. It's sort of fast. Well, if you were going to sing it, how fast would you sing it? If I go fast, it's... If I go slow, so it's got to be somewhere in between fast and slow. Well, it's closer to the fast side, so it's sort of fast. You decide. But that's what we add in. Keep in mind, when I'm playing a piano, I don't play with stiff wrists. We want to stay as relaxed as we can. So the wrists are giving, especially when I'm going loud. I'm using a lot of weight when I play loud. I'm using very little weight when I play soft. So here on the loud, you don't see it very well, but I'm collapsing the wrist with each of these. And even with the chord, I'm collapsing the wrist with the chord. Relax. I'd like to play it with you slowly. Let's double check everything. Not going to do the dynamics. I'm just going to play it. We're checking notes and rhythms here, so I'll give us 4 counts. 1, 2, ready, go. Three, 4. 1, 2, 3.